Let's be honest, some K-dramas hit so hard the first time you watch them, but now? You kinda cringe just thinking about them. These dramas were once considered untouchable classics, but over time, the glow faded, the flaws stood out, and the rewatch value? Yeah, not what it used to be. So today, we're looking at 5 K-drama classics people have slowly turned on, and before you come for me, just know, some of these are still fun, just not iconic the way we once believed. Let's just get it out of the way, Descendants of the Sun was a moment. When it aired in 2016, it wasn't just popular. It was a global phenomenon. Everyone was obsessed, the uniforms, the slow-mo gazes, the song-song chemistry. It gave us one of the most iconic K-drama couples on and off-screen. The OST played in every cafe for 2 years straight. But rewatch it now? Oof. Look, it's still polished. Still pretty. The budget? Clearly present and accounted for. But the cracks start to show fast. The romance, while swoony, is built on not much. There's chemistry, sure, but not a whole lot of emotional depth. The characters are hot, not layered. And the plot? It starts strong, then turns into a glossy slideshow of look how noble this soldier is and look how stunning this doctor is under impossible conditions. A lot of fans have pointed out how weirdly sanitized the whole thing is, like it flirts with military realism but won't actually commit to any real commentary. And then there's the tone, it bounces between intense disaster scenes and awkward rom-com beats like it's unsure what show it wants to be. 1 minute it's life and death, next minute it's cute wrist grab. Is it still fun to look at? Absolutely. Is it still a great gateway K-drama? Probably. But does it hold up as the all-time great we once thought it was? It's giving style over substance, and a lot of people are finally saying it out loud. She's in the Trap started off with real promise. Like, actual spine-tingling potential. It wasn't just another fluffy campus romance. It was darker, more psychological, and gave us a male lead, Yu Young, who was charming but deeply unsettling. Which, refreshing. It was the first time a K-drama said, what if your boyfriend's hot and kind of a sociopath? Hong Seol, our heroine, wasn't your typical doormat. She was smart, observant, and constantly navigating this web of manipulative social dynamics. The tension was real. Every smile had an edge. Every glance meant something. It was giving slow-burn thriller disguised as a slice-of-life college drama. And then, it face-planted. Somewhere around the halfway mark, things started unraveling like a knockoff sweater. The male lead disappeared. Not like emotionally, like literally gone. The narrative shifted focus to Baek In-ho, who was supposed to be a second lead, but suddenly started getting all the screen time, backstory, and redemption arc. Meanwhile, Yu Young, the actual mystery we signed up for, got shoved to the sidelines. Entire episodes went by with him barely speaking. And no, there was no brilliant twist ending to justify it. The production literally fell apart behind the scenes. The webtoon author publicly distanced herself. The ending felt like someone forgot to finish writing the script and just hit export. What we were left with wasn't a modern classic, it was a masterclass in how to butcher narrative momentum. What started as a genre-defying deep dive into emotional manipulation ended as a poorly edited love triangle with no resolution. And honestly, that betrayal stung. She's in the Trap had the potential to be the college drama, the kind people rewatch every year. Instead, it became a cautionary tale about what happens when you ignore your own main character. Look, I'm not here to hate on Park Seo-joon and Park Min-young. Their chemistry? Insane. Their visuals? Out of control. That closet scene? Iconic. But if we're being brutally honest, what's wrong with Secretary Kim is basically a Pinterest board of every K-drama cliché wrapped in a designer suit. This drama didn't just use tropes, it injected them straight into the bloodstream. Arrogant CEO with childhood trauma? Check. Long-suffering secretary with a hidden emotional wound? Check. Amnesia plotline that somehow explains everything and nothing? Double check. To be fair, it was sleek. It was funny. It had those sugary, fanservice-y moments that made you giggle into your pillow at 2 a.m. And in 2018, it was exactly what we all needed. A clean-cut, high-production, low-stakes romance that hit every familiar beat. But now, you watch it again and you start to notice nothing really happens. Like, at all. The drama's emotional stakes are so featherlight you could blow them over with a sigh. The conflicts are resolved with minimal effort, the side characters exist purely for comic relief, and the entire second half of the show basically coasts on vibes alone. Even the central romance, as swoony as it is, starts to feel like a montage of viral moments strung together with sparkly filters. The drama is less about watching two people fall in love and more about already assuming they're in love and giving you 16 episodes of forehead kisses and smug monologues. Rewatching now, it feels less like a story and more like a mood board. Which, honestly, is fine. Not everything has to be profound. But when people say it's the peak of rom-coms, let's calm down. It didn't reinvent the genre. It just wore it really, really well. And now that every third drama is a cold boss plus quirky employee situation with a mysterious childhood connection? Yeah, you can thank what's wrong with Secretary Kim for starting that industrial complex. The heirs walked so every overfunded, underwritten K-drama could sprint into chaos. When this dropped in 2013, it was the event. Lee Min-ho with his I'm rich and brooding aura. Park Shin-hye doing the wide-eyed, emotionally resilient heroine thing. Kim Woo-bin being hotter than any second lead had the right to be. It was catnip for high schoolers, and honestly, we ate it up. But rewatch it now and, oof. It's less a story and more a 20-episode mood board of rich people being sad in sweaters. The drama gives big vibes over plot, energy. Every scene is soaked in aesthetic longing, but if you stop and ask, wait, what's actually happening? The answer is usually absolutely nothing. We're introduced to the sprawling cast of students from rich, dysfunctional families, chaebols, heirs, heiresses, and one per girl caught in the middle. And you think, okay, this is going to be juicy. But instead of tension and stakes, we get pouty stares, slap fights, and the same slow-motion walk down school hallways like 6 times an episode. And the romance? Oh boy, let's just say. Kim Tan may have been everyone's Tumblr boyfriend in 2013, but now he reads like a walking red flag. Controlling, intense, and constantly steamrolling over Cha Eun-sang's boundaries. At the time, we called it swoony. Now it's like, girl, run. Cha Eun-sang, meanwhile, spends the whole show being tossed around like a narrative volleyball. Does she want to go to college? Escape her life? Fight back? Who knows? The show barely gives her a voice. And that's the biggest betrayal. She's supposed to be our emotional anchor, and instead she gets lost in the cast of side characters who, frankly, have more energy than the leads. Don't get me wrong, The Heirs still has a chokehold on our nostalgia. The OST alone could bring grown adults to tears. But as a drama, it's a structural mess. It's got all the ingredients, but none of the payoff. It's the kind of show you remember feeling big until you rewatch and realize nothing happened. Everyone cried. Everyone sucks. And no one changed. And we all moved on. Ah yes, Secret Garden. The K-drama that gave us sparkling tracksuits, inexplicable soul-swapping, and a male lead who thought negging was a love language. Listen, we owe Secret Garden a lot. It was massive. Ratings through the roof. Hyunbin in that foam-studded stunt suit? Historic. That man on the OST? Certified classic. And the infamous sit-up scene? Still lives rent-free in at least 1,000 fan cams. But let's not pretend this wasn't unhinged. We're talking about a body swap romance where Hyunbin and Ha Ji-won spend half the show yelling at each other, confusing each other, and somehow falling in love? Between the emotional whiplash, the rich boy trauma monologues, and the bizarre magical realism, it's honestly amazing this drama didn't collapse under the weight of its own melodrama. And look, the dialogue? Peak early 2010s energy. Every conversation felt like it was written by someone who just discovered metaphors and never looked back. At one point, Hyunbin's character tells her, "Is this the best you can do? You've already shaken me to the core. Do you want me to lose my soul next? Sir, please log off." Still, it was a moment. And I won't lie, that kiss in the rain? Still kinda hits. But if you rewatch it now, just know you're diving into a drama where the plot is held together by vibes, violin solos, and glitter. Aged like milk? Not exactly. Still iconic? Tragically, yes. There was a time when Boys Over Flowers wasn't just a drama, it was a movement. The F4 were everywhere. That intro music could summon K-drama fans from across a mall food court. Gu Junpyo's curls had a fandom of their own. And let's not even pretend we didn't all want to get hit by a car just to be rescued by a chaebol prince. But let's be honest, Boys Over Flowers is the most iconic hot mess in K-drama history. If you've never seen it, trying to explain this plot sounds like fanfiction written during finals week. Rich boy bullies per girl. She stands up to him. He falls in love with her? Kind of? She maybe loves him back? Sort of? It's equal parts romance, chaos, and emotional whiplash, and for some reason, it worked back then. But now? It's a little harder to ignore the everything. Junpyo wasn't just moody, he was borderline abusive. There's a literal scene where he orchestrates a campaign of bullying against Jandi that includes public humiliation and threats. And somehow the takeaway was, wow, he's so passionate. And let's talk about Jandi. The original strong female lead in theory, but in execution? She gets pushed, pulled, kidnapped multiple times and emotionally whiplashed into submission. Half the time she's crying, the other half she's confused. And every once in a while, she's sort of in love with Ji-hoo, the only man in the show with an actual personality who of course gets friend-zoned into oblivion. The pacing? Wild. One minute you're watching a school fight, the next it's a trip to Macau, then suddenly there's a kidnapping, memory loss, amnesia, a wedding maybe? Someone drowns. Someone gets hit by a car. It's like a decade of plotlines packed into one 25-episode fever dream. But here's the thing, it was everything at the time. Boys Over Flowers was the gateway drug for a whole generation of K-drama fans. It kicked off careers, launched a million fan edits, and gave us lines so dramatic they belong in Shakespeare's blooper reel. So is it good? Absolutely not. Is it iconic? Without a doubt. It's not a drama you rewatch for quality, it's a drama you rewatch to remember who you were when it aired. And for better or worse, it changed the K-drama landscape forever. So there you have it, 5.5 classic K-dramas that used to own the streets, dominate Tumblr GIF sets, and ruin our sleep schedules, but now, maybe don't hold up the way we remembered. And that's not shade, okay, maybe a little, but it's also a sign of how much the K-drama world has evolved. Better writing, deeper characters, tighter pacing, most of the time, we're no longer starved for options, so when we revisit the old guard, the flaws are just louder. But hey, that doesn't mean you can't still enjoy them. Nostalgia is powerful, and sometimes a messy, chaotic drama with questionable fashion and even more questionable plotlines is exactly what you need. Just don't be shocked when the rewatch hits different. Sometimes it's memories, and sometimes it's wait, he did what now? So what did we miss? What K-drama do you think aged like fine wine or spoiled yogurt? Drop it in the comments and let's debate, respectfully, mostly. And if you're still rocking a boys over flowers wallpaper in 2025, blink twice if you need help. Thanks for watching, like, subscribe, and I'll see you next time with another deep dive into the dramas we love, hate, or love to hate. Annyeong.